Yes, a very good afternoon. Right, so I just completed with a recording of the intermediate audit revision batch, right? And then I thought, like, just as for CA final on YouTube, I have an MCQ playlist over there, right? Why not create a similar playlist even for the intermediate, right? Audit students, right? For the old course as well as for the new course. Right, so in this particular series, right, this being the first video in that series, we'll be discussing a few MCQs which have been released by ICAI. Right, so in this particular video, we will be looking into the MCQs in the RTP May 2020, right, which eventually is July 2020 and now merged into November 20 as such, right, but the MCQs in the RTP May 20. Okay, right, so let's begin with. Right, integrated case scenario 1. Now actually if I look at the questions, okay, I could directly reach to the questions also, but the case study as such given over there is not having much relevance to the question asked thereafter. The question seems to be very, very independent also, but we should not have an overconfidence or undermining what is given over there, right? So just let us have a quick glance of what is written over there and then after that go to the questions. NSG and Associates have been appointed as auditors of Viana Limited for the financial year 1920. The processes, operations, accounting and decisions are carried out by using computers in Viana Limited. The auditors understand that there are several aspects that they should consider to determine the level of automation and the complexity in the business environment of Viana Limited, right? So auditor wants to consider the use of computers, right? The automation and the complexity of the business environment due to use of computers. While planning the audit work, the engagement partners discussed with the audit staff about the various types of controls in the automated environment. Right, so at intermediate we have a chapter regarding the audit in an automated environment, right, where we talk about the general IT controls, the application controls, right, then also you have the IT dependent controls, and these application controls, they could be the manual controls or the automated controls. Okay, let's read further. The different types of audit tests that can be used in an audit of an automated business environment were also discussed within the engagement team. So what audit methods to be used while auditing in an automated environment, even that was discussed. The responsibility regarding the IFC, the internal financial controls, was also discussed in detail, wherein the statutory auditor needs to do the reporting under section 143(3)(I). Further, the tools and techniques that can be used to deal with the enormous data and information of Viana Limited were briefed to the audit staff by the engagement partners. Right, so also briefing regarding the data. Based on the above facts, answer the following. Dash are the manual controls that make use of some form of data or information or report produced from the IT systems and the application. Right, so they are making use of this data which is generated by the IT system and application, but basically they are the manual controls, right? So which are these controls referred to as the application control, the IT dependent control, the automated control or the general IT control, right? So this is the definition of the IT dependent control, which are basically manual control, but the effectiveness of the same depends upon the data generated by the IT systems and application. Right, so like say manually it is to be decided that whether goods are to be given on credit to this customer or not. So that's an IT dependent control, but this control is dependent on the data which is generated by the computer system, wherein the customer credit limit has been fixed. Right, so basically it is the human being, the person who has to decide that whether goods should be given on credit or not. So it's basically a manual control, but the decision will be taken based on the data which is generated from the IT systems and the application, right? So that is referred to as the IT dependent control. Okay, wonderful, right? So B is the correct option over there. Right, question number 2. Statement 1. Application controls include both manual and automated controls that operate at a business process level. Right, application control could either be a manual control or it could be an automated control. Seems good. And general IT controls apply to mainframe, mini-frame as well as end user environment. right? So whether it is a mainframe, mini-frame or an end-user environment, is general IT controls required in all scenario? Yes, general IT controls required in all scenarios. Right, so according to me, both statements seem to be correct over there, that application control could be both manual or automated, right? Manual and or automated, and general IT control for mainframe, mini-frame as well as for the end user environment. Right, so only statement 1 is correct, only statement 2 is correct, both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and both statement 1 and 2 are incorrect. Right, so for us C is correct. And out of A, B, C, D, C is correct. Right, both statement 1 and 2 are correct. Right, dash are also known as pervasive or indirect controls. Now the word pervasive, what does that mean? Overall. And so not related to any particular application, not related to any particular process. They operate at an overall level, indirect controls. They are not direct ones. Right, so obviously that has to be the general IT controls. Right, so it cannot be application controls because they are the direct controls. Then also not IT dependent controls, and no, none of the above. Right, so which would be the correct option over there? The general IT controls. Wonderful. Next one, which of the following are not the types of audit tests that can be used in the audit in an automated environment? Right, so out of the 7 tests which you have, mainly inspection, confirmation, analytical procedure, inquiry, observation, recalculation, reperformance, it says which cannot be used while doing an audit in an automated environment. Right, so observation, inspection, reperformance, none of the above. Now, if you might be knowing that in an automated environment, we mainly make use of the inspection, right? Inspection, then also the inquiry, right? Then the observation, right? Then the observation, and then we also make use of the reperformance, right? So while we do TOC, whether manual or automated environment, when we want to test the control, when we want to perform the compliance procedures, also in an automated environment too, we need to use inspection, inquiry, observation, reperformance, right? So out of that observation, inspection, reperformance over here, which is allowed, which is a method, which is a test which is used in an automated environment, right? So obviously what would be the correct option over here? D, none of the above. Yes, are you all with me? Getting what we are discussing? Which of the following are not the type of audit test? All these are audit tests which we use in an automated environment: inspection, inquiry, observation, reperformance. Right, so your observation, inspection, reperformance given. That is why D, none of the above. Next one, dash is the combination of processes, tools and techniques that are used to tap vast amount of electronic data to obtain meaningful information. So wonderful. They have given you the definition. You only have to write down the term over here. So whether it is computer assisted audit techniques, automated control, data analytics, or none of the above, right? It is data analytics. It is a combination of processes, tools and techniques that are used to tap vast amount of electronic data to obtain meaningful information. Right? We also have an alternative definition of data analytics over here. There, the process of generating meaningful information from raw system data. The tools and techniques which you use to convert data into information is referred to as data analytics. And the data analytics which are used in an audit are generally referred to as the computer assisted audit techniques. The data analytics which are used in an audit are mainly referred to as the computer assisted audit techniques. Right? So here what is the term for that particular definition over there? Data analytics. Is the combination of processes, tools and techniques that are used to tap vast amount of electronic data to obtain the meaningful information, right? So that's the data analytics. Wonderful, right? So that completes our integrated case scenario 1. Right, so not actually having much relevance to the scenario, but yes, then there we have the questions over there. Now coming to the case scenario 2. JK and Associates have been appointed as auditors of Venus Limited for the financial year 1920. The team consists of Mr. J and Mr. K, both chartered accountants, as also the engagement partner, and the audit staff consisting of 2 article assistants. While starting the audit work of Venus Limited, the engagement partners briefed the audit staff about the audit work, the areas to be covered, and the various auditing concepts and their application in the audit of Venus Limited, along with the applicable standards on auditing. Oh wow, engagement partners, very good people. they've briefed the audit staff regarding audit work, areas to be covered, auditing concepts, like audit risk, audit materiality, audit evidence, and so, and their application in the audit of Venus Limited along with the applicable essay. Various topics like audit planning, overall audit strategy, audit program were discussed in detail. The team was told about the purpose and implication of the various statements and guidance notes issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India from time to time. Mr. K also briefed the team about the concept of materiality to be applied while planning and performing the audit. The team was also explained in detail about the area where benchmark materiality can be applied in the case of Venus Limited. Right, based on the above facts, answer the following. Right, question number 1. Right. Dash sets the scope, timing and direction of the audit and guides the development of the more detailed plan. Right. So obviously which will help in the development of more detailed plan. So that has to be something which you do before you prepare a detailed plan. Right. So it has to be the strategy. Right. So strategy, then you have the plan and then you have the program. Right. That is the flow. Though they are closely interrelated, but that is the sequence. No. First the strategy, then the plan, and then based on the plan you have the series of verification procedures to be applied. That is the program. Right, so that sets the scope, timing and direction of the audit, that guides the development of the more detailed plan. It has to be something which you do before the audit plan. That is the audit strategy. Right, so audit program comes later. Completion memorandum, it comes towards the end of the audit. ACM, the audit completion memorandum. And audit plan, that anyways in the question only. Right, so what is the correct option over here? The overall audit strategy, right? B is the correct option. I hope all of you are listening to me so far. Wonderful. The establishment of the overall audit strategy and the detailed audit plan. See, wonderful terms used over there. Overall audit strategy and the detailed audit plan. Right, are not necessarily discrete or sequential process, but are closely interrelated. So it says they are quite interlinked with each other, the audit strategy and the audit plan. It says not necessarily discrete or sequential process, but they are very closely interrelated. And we always study the change in one would lead to a change in the other. You make any change in your strategy, your audit plan needs to be revised. You revise your audit plan, you first need to update your audit strategy. Right, so they are closely interrelated. And the auditor shall establish an overall audit strategy that guides in the development of the audit plan. This sentence was more or less written upstairs, no, in the first question over there. And overall audit strategy would guide in the development of the more detailed audit plan. Right, so the auditor shall establish an overall audit strategy that guides in the development of the audit plan. Right, so they are closely interrelated. Yes, yes. Audit strategy will guide in the development of the audit plan. Yes. Right. So only statement 1 is correct. Only statement 2 is correct. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and both statement 1 and 2 are incorrect. Right. So what is correct over here? C is the correct option over here. That both statement 1 and 2 are correct. And both statement 1 and 2 are correct. Wonderful. Next one. Question number 3. Dash means the amount set by the auditor at less than materiality for the financial statements as a whole to reduce to an appropriately low level the probability that the aggregate of uncorrected and undetected misstatements exceeds materiality for the financial statements as a whole. And a small misstatements, if you take the total, if you take the aggregate, the total may exceed materiality. And to mitigate this risk in the audit, the auditor sets an amount of materiality below materiality, less than materiality, which is referred to as benchmark materiality, materiality in planning, performance materiality, materiality. Right? So what is the correct technical term over there? Performance materiality means the amount set by the auditor at less than materiality for the financial statements as a whole to reduce to an appropriately low level the probability that the aggregate of uncorrected and uncorrected misstatements, that is how we can present it. Right? Aggregate of uncorrected plus undetected misstatements could exceed the materiality. Right? To mitigate this risk in the audit, to mitigate, to cover, to reduce, to address this risk in the audit, the auditor sets a level of materiality below materiality, which is referred to as the performance materiality. Wonderful. Right? Let's come to fourth one. Which of the following is not an example of a benchmark that can be used in determining the materiality in case of financial statements? Right, you remember in 320 they say that for the determination of materiality, auditor, you need to use the concept of benchmarking over there. Right, you need to select an appropriate benchmark from the financial information. To that chosen benchmark, you need to apply a percentage, and then whatever is the resulting amount, that is materiality. And what benchmark to take? Professional judgment. What percentage to apply? Professional judgment. But that's the formula. Say auditor decides 2% as the percentage, and benchmark say he decides sales. So 2% of sales is equal to whatever amount, that is going to be the materiality. Right? That is how the auditor determines the materiality. So it says which of the following cannot be taken as a benchmark? Right? Can you take total revenue as a benchmark? Yes, it's a professional judgment. Auditor may consider, okay, yes, this is an appropriate benchmark. PBT, profit before tax, can that be taken as a benchmark? Yes, again, it is at the discretion of the auditor. It is the professional judgment of the auditor. Net asset value, can that be taken as a benchmark? Again, yes. Right, the auditor, it is his professional judgment over there. Right, so what cannot be taken? We say none of the above, because all the above three can be taken as a benchmark. Because all the above three can be taken as a benchmark. Wonderful. Right, fifth one over there. Guidance notes issued by ICAI provide guidance to the members on matters which may arise in the course of their professional work. Such a wonderful sentence. Guidance notes issued by ICAI provide guidance. Obviously, no. Guidance note provide guidance. Perfect. है ना, बराबर है ना. Guidance notes issued by ICAI provide guidance to the members on matters which may arise in the course of their professional work. Statements are issued by ICAI. Again, yes, guidance notes also issued by ICAI, statements also issued by ICAI, with the view to secure compliance by members on certain matters. So it says this, you have to secure compliance. Guidance note give guidance. But statements, it says compulsory. It gives, it's secure compliance. The members have to follow them. And a secure compliance by members on some matters. Guidance notes are recommendatory in nature. We studied this in the correct incorrect also. We studied this in the short note also regarding guidance notes and statements. Right? So guidance notes are recommendatory in nature. Perfect. And statements are mandatory in nature. Perfect. Just because I am saying perfect, do you find it perfect, or do you know that it is perfect? If you are listening to me so far. If you are not listening to me, then to your life is altogether at a different, different dimension only. And if you are listening to me, then in that case, okay, right? Guidance notes are recommendatory in nature. Statements are mandatory in nature. Everything they are saying is right over there. Right, so all the above statements are correct. 1 and 2 are correct. 1, 2, 3 are correct, and 1, 2, 4 are correct. Right, so they have to create some wrong options over there. Right, but we have to select the right option over there. Right, so all the above statements are correct. Right, so A is the correct option. Then next one, MCQ not based on case scenario. Right, so now coming to the next. So they are giving lot of statements over there, no? And they are saying whether 1 is correct, 2 is correct, all are correct, all are incorrect. And so you can see that that's one particular pattern of the MCQ question coming in the exam. Okay, audit procedures. Oh, wonderful. We like this term, no? At intermediate audit, if you don't understand audit procedure, you don't understand audit. Is it right? And you have to understand that 500 to the core. And audit procedures, audit evidence, and in 200 you have to understand the audit risk. Only then you get the gist of what is an audit. Only then let them ask any correct, incorrect, let them ask any short note or anything. You will be in a position to write the answer. And also audit procedures consist of risk assessment procedures and other procedures. This other procedures actually technically we refer to it as the further audit procedures. And risk assessment procedures and further audit procedures. And under further audit procedures, we have the TOC and substantive, tests of control and substantive procedures. And then there under substantive procedures, we have the detailed checking, test of detail, and the substantive analytical procedures. Right, so audit procedures consist of risk assessment procedures and other procedures. Seems okay to me. Right. Substantive procedures, the detailed checking which you do to reduce audit risk to an acceptably low level by obtaining sufficient appropriate audit evidence, consist of test of detail and analytical procedures. Again, sounds good to me. And a substantive procedures consist of test of detail. Yes, had they written test of control, we would have said no, what you are writing, incorrect. And also test of detail and analytical procedures, right? So that seems again okay to me. Right, so only statement 1 is correct? No. Right, only statement 2 is correct? No. Both 1 and 2 are correct, both 1 and 2 are incorrect. Right, so what is correct over here? Both 1 and 2 are correct. And both 1 and 2 are correct. Right, with reference to the form, see such wonderful MCQs they have drafted over there. With reference to the form specified by the Company Cost Records and Audit Rules 2014, which of the following is an incorrect combination? They say no, this is not matching, this is not going well. Incorrect combination. Form CRA1 is regarding maintenance of cost records by the company. Form CRA2, intimation of appointment of another cost auditor to the CG, central government. CRA3, submission of cost audit report to the board of directors of the company. CRA4, submission of cost audit report by the company to the registrar. We caught the thief. And we caught the thief over there. We caught the incorrect combination over there. Boss, submission of cost audit report by the company is to be done to the central government. And it has to be done, the reporting, the auditor does the reporting first to the board of directors and then a copy of it, right, along with the explanation reservation. The board of directors have to file it with the central government within 30 days from the date of receipt of the report. Right, so if you are sure that this is the wrong combination, then anyways you can agree that the other three have to be the right combination. You see, I don't know whether it is that CRA1 which is for cost records or that CRA2 for intimation of appointment or CRA3 for submission of cost audit report to board of directors. But now that you have found the thief in the fourth one, then you please assume that the first three are right over there. You understand? No, right? You can do the smart analysis over there. Right, so which is the correct option over here? What do you say? The correct option of the incorrect combination over there? Right, the D option, CRA4, submission of cost audit report by the company to the central government and not to the registrar. And not to the central government and not to the registrar. Next one. 3. Statement 1. Oh, again they are writing statements. Okay, no problem. As per SA 520, analytical procedures, the term analytical procedures means, right, you're seeing this particular revision video, the MCQ video over here. And now when it comes, analytical procedure, before reading what is over here, can you check with yourself by pausing the video that whether, and without seeing in the presentation over there, in the PDF over there, that do you know the definition of analytical procedure? Right? See, when you read it, you will only acknowledge, barabar hai, ye hai ya ye nahi hai definition. But on your own, do you know about it? And because for the fact that you are looking into the MCQ videos and so far that your exams are approaching very near, right? So we keep on being, you should be taking a stock of the reality. And you should be seeing, that how much of the studies has been done, or you're just continuing to read audit like a novel or a newspaper, reading audit every day, half an hour, 1 hour. Aisa nahi hota hai audit. And it doesn't happen that way. That recipe, it will not work for the audit subject. Okay, right, you have to do the in-depth study, analysis, prepare the notes, do the writing practice, right, memorize the important terms, do cumulative revision, then that's the recipe which should work for the audit preparation. Anyways, right, let's look over here. The term analytical procedures means, what does it mean? Evaluation of financial information. Wonderful. What do you do in analytical? Evaluation of financial information through analysis of what? Plausible relationship. That means there has to be some link in the data that you are comparing. Through analysis of plausible relationship among financial data. Arey, कुछ तो अटपिटा है ना, कुछ तो गड़बड़ है ना, something you say no, this is not making sense. That since something is missing over there. Plausible relationship among financial as well as, yes, non-financial data. So now finally, so far I have agreed with all the sentences, almost with whatever sentences were written up. I said agree, statement is correct. Now I can't agree. And now through analysis of plausible relationship among financial and non-financial data. Right, so this statement is incorrect. Second statement, analytical procedures also encompass such investigation as is necessary for identified fluctuation or relationship that are inconsistent with other relevant information or that differ from the expected value by a significant amount. Wonderful. And whenever it is inconsistent, in that case we need to investigate in detail. And wherever it is inconsistent, auditor, in that case you need to investigate in detail, right? Or whenever there is it differs significantly from the expected amount, right? So the second statement over here seems to be correct. Right, so only statement 1 is correct, only statement 2 is correct, both are correct, both are incorrect. Right, so what is correct over here? B is the correct option over here. Right, everybody pay attention. I hope you are all listening to me carefully. Right, so only statement 2 is correct. Right, only statement 2 is correct. Right, now coming to question number 4. Which of the following is not an example of analytical procedure? Oh my God, so much regarding analytical they are asking over there. And so much regarding the analytical. So now, which of the following is not an example of analytical procedure having consideration of comparison of the entity's financial information? So it says one of the method of performing analytical is by doing comparisons. So under comparison, it says which of the following is not a basis for comparison? So comparable information from prior period. Obviously, we compare with previous year. Then anticipated results of the entity such as budgets, forecasts, expectations of the auditor such as an estimation of depreciation. Yes, again there we compare with budgets, forecasts, that is anticipated results. Then similar industry information such as the comparison of the entity's ratio of sales to accounts receivable with industry averages or with other entities of comparable size in the same industry. Right, so say all banking companies and in the same industry, all the telecom companies, software companies, manufacturing companies, same industry, no, right, there you can compare. Right, so similar industry information, again I think, right, yes, you can perform an analytical by doing the comparison. Right, then let's read the fourth one. Among elements of financial information that would be expected to conform to a predictable pattern based on the entity's experience, such as gross margin percentages. Now, when you develop a predictable pattern, boss, where is the comparison over there? There you are observing a trend. There you are doing a trend analysis. You're not doing any comparison as such over there. In the first three scenarios which are given in the options over there you are doing a comparison. You're comparing with the prior period, you're comparing with the anticipated results, you're comparing with the similar industry information, right? But in the fourth case, you're not doing a comparison, you're doing a trend analysis over there. Right, so that does not come under the comparison, right? So that is why B is the correct option. Right, that is why B is the correct option. Again, statement 1 and 2, okay. A firm where majority of the partners practicing in India, so they are talking about section 141 subsection 1 regarding the qualifications of the company auditor. A firm where majority of the partners practicing in India are qualified for appointment may be appointed by its firm name to be the auditor of the company. Right, so can also a firm where majority of the partners are chartered accountants be qualified to be appointed in the firm name as an auditor of the company? Yes, it can be appointed in the firm name. Okay, and where a firm including an LLP, so even LLP can be appointed, is appointed as an auditor of a company, all the partners, problem, we caught the thief, है ना, चोर को पकड़ लिया हमने. And all the partners shall be authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. Not all the partners, only those partners who are chartered accountants, only those members of the LLP who are chartered accountants. And only those members of the LLP who are the chartered accountants, right? So only statement 1 is correct, 2 is correct, both are incorrect, right? So what is correct? A is correct, right? Only statement 1 is correct. Wonderful, right? So we've looked into all the MCQs over there, right, in the RTP. Right, let us also quickly go through the correct, incorrect, or the true or false part over there. Sometimes they call it true or false, sometimes correct, incorrect. It means one and the same thing only. And state with reason in short. Okay, so keep it short over there. All the public companies having an aggregate outstanding loan or borrowing or debenture or deposit exceed exceeding 100 crore rupees or more shall constitute an audit committee. So they are talking about section 177 of the Companies Act 2013, which talks about the audit committee and the applicability of audit committee. Right, as per section 177, which companies are required to constitute an audit committee? Listed companies always. उनका तो हमेशा number 1 होता है ना? Everywhere listed companies number 1 for applicability. Then after listed companies, every public company, apart from listed companies, every public company having the paid up share capital of more than or equal to 10 crore, or having the turnover of more than or equal to 100 crore, or having the LBDD. LBDD is what? Loans, borrowing, debenture, deposit of more than or equal to 50 crore rupees, right, shall constitute an audit committee. Here what they have given? 100 crore. No, what is the amount over there? 50 crore, right? So this statement over here is incorrect. Right? This statement over here is incorrect, right? So all public companies having an aggregate LBDD, loans, borrowing, debenture, deposit exceeding 50 crore rupees or more. So that 100 you have to replace it by 50 over there. 50 crore or more shall constitute an audit committee. Okay. Next one. According to section 140 subsection 1, the auditor appointed under section 139 may be removed from his office before the expiry of his term only by a general resolution of the company. No, this point is wrong. And incorrect over there. Why? Because removal of auditor before the expiry of his term, two conditions compulsory. And two requirements. What are the two requirements? Prior approval of the central government and a special resolution in the general meeting. And a prior approval of the central government and also the special resolution in the general meeting. Right? So according to section 141, the auditor appointed under section 139 may be removed from office before the expiry of his term. ONLY. What is ONLY? Only by a special resolution of the company, and that too after obtaining the previous approval of the central government in that behalf as per the rule 7 of the rules of 2014. Right? So that statement over there is incorrect. Next one, third one. As per subsection 5 of section 140, the tribunal cannot direct the company to change its auditors. Incorrect. Can the tribunal direct the company to change its auditors? Yes, we have the provisions of section 140 subsection 5, which talks about removal of auditor by tribunal or CG, which says the tribunal either suo motu or based on an application received from CG or any person concerned is satisfied that the auditor of the company has acted in a fraudulent manner or has abated or colluded. Abated means helped. Or colluded joint effort in any fraud by or in relation to the company or its directors or officers, it may by order direct the company to change its auditors. Right? So yes, is that possible? Removal of auditor by tribunal or CG? Yes, he can be removed by tribunal or CG. Next one, SA 210 does not require the auditor. So 210 engagement letter agreeing the terms of audit engagement does not require the auditor to agree management responsibility in an engagement letter or other suitable form of written agreement. Again, reverse. It requires, 210 requires the auditor to agree the management's responsibility, right, in an engagement letter or other suitable form of written agreement, right? So you just remove the not over there. It says it does not require, we say it requires the auditor, right? We write the preconditions for an audit in an engagement letter. Yes, everybody, are you with me? Okay, government audit does not serve as a mechanism or process for public accounting of government funds. Government audit does not serve as a mechanism or process for public accounting of government funds. Again what? It does serve, right? So again wrong over there. It does serve as a mechanism for public accounting of the government funds. Right? So government audit serves as a mechanism or process of public accounting of the government funds. It also provides public accounting. So not only public accounting of the government fund, but it also provides the public accounting of the operational management, program and policy aspects of public administration as well as the accountability of the officials administering them. Because, in case of government audit, there is always also a concept of the propriety audit and the performance audit over there. Right, so public accounting of government funds and also the public accounting of the operational administration, right, the management program and policy aspects of the public administration, as well as the accountability of the officials administering them. Okay, next one is, so now an account should be treated as an out of order. So now coming to bank audit. And also they did little bit of company audit, then after that engagement letter, then government audit, now bank audit. Right, so an account should be treated as out of order status. So when an account becomes an NPA, and if it is overdue for more than 90 days, or for those agricultural advances, or for the CC overdraft, when it gets an out of order status. And for CC overdraft, when is an account to be treated as an NPA? When it gets an out of order status. So an account should be treated as out of order if the outstanding balance remains continuously in excess of the sanction limit drawing power. So if it exceeds the sanction limit continuously, it says it should be treated as out of order. Perfect. In case where the outstanding balance in the principal operating account is less than the sanction limit, so now it has not exceeded the sanction limit, it is less than the sanction limit, but there are no credits continuously for 180 days. Catch the thief. Is it 180 days? You know or you don't know? You studied or not studied? Or you're from old course, so bank audit not applicable for you. Okay, then you can go ahead. But for new course, intermediate, for you bank audit applicable now. So yes, 180 days or what days? 60, 45, 15, 30, 90, what? You should know the number, no? Right, so 90 days. So we got the thief over there. 180 days. Galat, wrong. Yes, so no credits continuously for 180 days as on the date of the balance sheet, or credits are not enough to cover the interest debited during the same period. These accounts should be treated as out of order. So everything else in the drafting in that question over there was right, except for that 180 days, because of which the answer will now become as incorrect. And because of which now the option over there will be incorrect. Right, so incorrect. Why? Because only that 180 I need to replace it with the 90. Only that 180 over there we need to replace it over there with the 90. Okay, next one. Right, what is the next question over there? An audit report is an opinion drawn on the entity's financial statements. Wonderful. Audit report is an opinion drawn on the entity's financial statement to make sure that the records are true and correct presentation. Now not wonderful. So far it was all wonderful. Now true and correct representation of the transactions that they claim to represent. No, we always talk about the truth and fairness of the financial statement, truth and fairness of the transaction, right, that they claim to represent. Right, so yes, the purpose of an audit is to enhance the degree of confidence of the intended users on the financial statements. The aforesaid purpose is achieved with the expression of an independent reporting by the auditor as to whether the financial statements exhibit a true and fair view and not a true and correct view, and a true and fair view of the affairs of the entity. Right? Thus an audit report, right? So now writing the question again. Thus an audit report is an opinion drawn on the entity's financial statements to make sure that the records are a true and fair representation of the transactions that they claim to represent. Right? So not a true and correct representation, but a true and fair representation of the transactions that they claim to represent. Right? So the purpose of audit is to enhance the degree of the confidence of the intended users, and this is achieved by expressing an opinion on the true and fair view. And therefore auditor has to express an opinion on the true and fair representation of the transactions that they claim to represent. Okay. Next one. In the planning stage, analytical procedures would not in any way assist the auditor. Somehow they are very fond of analytical procedures, 520, no? Right? In planning stage, analytical procedures would not in any way assist the auditor. Incorrect. Right? Analytical procedures are to be used by the auditor throughout the audit. And a planning stage, substantive and substantive procedure stage, and also at the conclusion stage, that is near the end of the audit. Right, so in the planning stage, analytical procedures assist the auditor in understanding the client business and then identifying, right? Listen with both your ears wide open. In identifying areas of potential risk, that is RMM, risk of material misstatement, significant increase in sales as compared to previous year, significant increase in depreciation as compared to previous year, auditors say maybe there is a chance of fraud and error. We are not saying that there is a fraud and error. What we are saying, there is a potential risk. There is a potential risk. Right? So, and how does analytical help in understanding the client business and in identifying areas of potential risk by indicating aspects of and development in the entity's business of which he was previously unaware. This information will assist the auditor in determining the nature, timing and extent of his other audit procedures. So it says the results of analytical at the planning stage, risk assessment stage, will help the auditor to determine the nature, timing and extent of the further audit procedures, the other audit procedures. And analytical procedures in planning, right? The audit use both financial and non-financial information. So that is, so wherever we use analytical, we always make use of both financial information also and non-financial data also. Right, so non-financial information such as number of employees, square feet of selling space, volume of goods produced and similar information. Right, so yes, analytical procedures to be used by the auditor at the planning stage of the audit also. Next one, statistical sampling. So now coming to 530, the second favorite at the intermediate level. And a 520 favorite, 530 also favorite and 500 also favorite. And ultimately all that is asked in exam is favorite. What is favorite? Whatever will come in exam, that is favorite. Rest nothing is favorite over there. Statistical sampling has narrower application where a population to be tested consists a large number of similar items. Then so it is more better to use statistical sampling. So rather than saying it has a narrower application, we will say that it has a reasonably wider application. It has a reasonably wide application when the population consists of large number of similar items. Right. So statistical sampling has reasonably wide application where a population to be tested consists a large number of similar items. So what was written in the question? Narrower application. We went reverse, opposed. And we are saying reasonably wide application. Question said narrower application. Answer says reasonably wide application. Right, where a population to be tested consists a large number of these similar items and more in the case of transactions involving the compliance testing, trade receivable confirmation, payroll checking, vouching of invoices and petty cash vouchers. Okay. Right, so it has a wider application. And the last one over there, risk assessment procedures, SAE 315, risk assessment procedures are not performed to obtain an understanding of the entity and its environment. Hey Bhagwan, how can they even write this? Risk assessment procedures are not performed to obtain understanding of entity and its environment. Rather, that's given in the title of 315 itself. Identifying and assessing the risks of material misstatement through understanding the entity and its environment. So through risk assessment procedures, what are we trying to do? We are trying to understand the entity and its environment and thereby assess the risk of material misstatement. We are trying to understand the entity and its environment and thereby assess the risk of material misstatement. Right? So risk assessment procedures refer to the audit procedures performed to obtain an understanding. What they said, they are not helpful in understanding entity and its environment. We are saying we perform them to obtain an understanding of the entity and its environment, including the entity's internal control. Because as a part of understanding the entity, you also understand the internal control. And why you want to understand entity, environment, internal control? To identify and assess the risk of material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, and whether at the financial statement level or at the assertion level. And this is the crux of 315, and this is also an elaborated version of the title of SAE 315. This is the crux of 315. Right? Title of 315 is nothing but the definition of risk assessment procedures. And the title of 315 is nothing but the definition of risk assessment procedures. So identifying and assessing the risks of material misstatement. Further, you can add whether due to fraud or error and at financial statement level and assertion level through understanding the entity and its environment, including the entity's internal control. Right, so what did the question say? Risk assessment procedures are not performed to obtain an understanding. So we say no, they are performed to obtain an understanding of the entity and its environment. Right, wonderful. Right, so that completes our discussion for the MCQs and the correct and correct in the RTP May 20. Right, next one we will see more of the MCQs. Right, so thank you so much.